Good day, everybody. Welcome to what is essentially my first ever episode. I thought I'd start off by starting it with a bang. Um, Going to do a detail on my Ford Focus ST, and I thought I'd take you guys through the steps, and like the condition of what the paint is in, possibly the do's and don'ts when you detail your car and when you maintain your car. And yeah, we see how it goes. Um, she is a bit dirty at the moment. I've neglected the car a bit over the past year or almost a year since I've owned the CRX. She parks most of the time outside. I still 2 bucket method wash the car, or 3 bucket, one with the wheels, two for the paint. But it's just not the same if you do it in a rush. So yeah, if all goes well, she will look perfect again after this. So yeah, let me show you what her condition is in, or I refer to her as a female. You must treat them with the utmost of care. So yeah, here we go. So the lighting is unfortunately not the greatest, but I think you guys can see that the car is quite dirty. Essentially a white car, well, mostly silver cars actually, not white cars. When they're dirty, they don't show so often that they are dirty, but in this case this car is dirty. Got some bird poop there. Thankfully that happened this morning, so it hasn't been chilling there. I'll never allow that to happen. Let's see. There is some spots also on the back bumper and on the boot of the car. It's like little metal spots. Don't know if it's from the brakes or something, but I will be deionizing that later on. Shoot in a purple color, which reacts with the chemical in the deionizer, the metal. See, our wheels are pretty dusty, but they look clean. I've decided I want to start with the engine bay of the car. I prefer doing it that way, so you get the most dirtiest part of the car out of the way, or greasy part sometimes, and then go on to the paint, which then gets a flawless finish. You dry it up, you pull it in your shaded area, and you go ahead and detail the car. So let's get started on the engine bay. So guys, you can see that I've finally reached the stage where I've completed the wash and dry on the car. I will be drying the car further by using the blower and getting out the water in the little areas where the cloth cannot get to. Um, I Thereafter I'm going to darken up the place a bit so that I can use the swirl finder pen and inspect the paint. So I'm just gonna go ahead and dry up the last bit of the car, and then yeah, we'll get into the paint side of things. So today I'll be using the Flex Swirl Finder pen. Um, I'll be using this to inspect the paint and during the detail to check that, I've removed any remainder of the swirls that's been left behind on the paint. This is a really powerful tool, really good investment. So yeah, it's quite bright. Look at this. Obviously some extra light in here now, but works like a bomb. Yeah. So the reason for this detail today, so I last detailed the car in 2021, 2022. The paint is not in a bad condition, as you'll see very shortly, but last year the car went for the front bumper to be resprayed, and the panel shop that did the job did a horrible job. Firstly, they probably did it 5 or 6 times over, and it just kept on coming back worse. And on top of it, I gave them clear instruction not to blend into my fenders, which they clearly ignored. And I've asked them to respray the fenders. They did not. Instead, they went and just simply sanded it down, and I can still see the sand marks and where they've blended in the paint. Some poor workmanship over there. Yeah, and they just refused to fix it. And on top of that, they did not cover the car when spraying it on, spraying the bumper. And thus being that they got overspray all over the car. When I used to wash the car, I would feel, it felt like sandpaper. I then decided to clay the car, but I never got the time to refine the paint after claying it. As the moment you clay your car, you tend to introduce slight swirls into the paint, depending on how badly contaminated your paint is. And yeah, so the purpose of today is to refine those slight swirls that has been introduced by myself, trying to remove the overspray from the panel shop. And yeah, one of the areas that I'm not going to focus on this car is the front bumper. As I said, poor workmanship. They gave me the car from day one, or when I picked up the car, with certain areas on the paint of the bumper with zero paint on it. It's probably like a base coat or whatever. You will see what I'm talking about in a second. There's a noticeable color difference. It's got like a cream color to it compared to the frozen white color that the Focus comes out with. So I'm not going to bother detailing the bumper, as firstly it came from them with a lot of swirls on, and secondly not enough paint. So I'm going to have it resprayed, just to satisfy myself. And I might even respray the fenders. They look good, but as I said, I know they've been blended in. I do not approve of that. It's a white car. It's not the world's most difficult color to match. I am no spray painter. I cannot do it better myself, but you know, there are professionals out there that get paid to do this well. And it's sad that sometimes it's a result that, you know, they just don't do a good job. So yeah, let me show you what the bumper looks like, and yeah, we'll check out the rest of the car's paint. So firstly, prepare yourself for this. If the camera will focus, that is like the cheek or whatever you would like to call it on the bumper. There is zero paint there. Here we go. As you can see, it is very badly swirled. I think this is due to sanding. There should be some straight line scratches here as well. And maybe, just maybe, I can find some here on the fender. Yeah, that's from them. And right there. Oh, the camera's not going to focus on this. Right about here. There we go. That's where they blended in. In the daytime, you can see it under the sunlight. Not so easy to see at nighttime. But if you are like me and you are very pedantic about your paint, you are going to notice it. To give you an idea of my crazy car cleaning obsession, this is my cleaning rack. I'm sure out there's people with more products than I do, but yeah, I've got quite a collection. I'll be selecting a few of these things now in a second, and then I'll show you what I'll be using. Yo, ran out of English there for a second. So these are the products I'm going to use today. Starting off with the Skull Concepts S17 Plus. That is the compound with the purple pad. I will only be using this on certain areas of the car today, such as the bumper, back bumper, and possibly the roof, and the lower sections of the car, where I can see there's some definite swirling of the paint. After compounding, I'll move over to the polish. It's a finer cut, so using the S30 Plus with the orange pad to give that final, refinement stage. In between those processes, I'll also be using the Geon Prep just to degrease and wipe off any remaining polish residue in between passes, just to check if I've removed all the swirls. And I will also be using this at the end after I've polished the car as well. I'll use it again before prepping the car for the synthetic coating, which I will be using Menzena Powerlock. This is my coating of choice. There are probably better, more expensive choices out there. I prefer this. I have not used any ceramic coating on my car, but so far, for as long as I've used this, I've had no issues with it, and it's really got a good lifetime, life on your paint. Especially if it rains, you'll see a year later the car will still, beat properly. So really, I trust this product. That right there is a perfect finish. There isn't a single swirl reflecting back on the camera. That sanding marks is not going to come out. That's a definite. That just looks so horrible. Let me show you from a different angle. Come on. There we go. That's what I'm dealing with. And the only way I'm going to remove that is by sanding that sanding marks out. I managed to remove the scratches, and as I said, I think the only way I'm going to remove the scratches on the fender is by actually removing the sanding marks that the panel shop put in by sanding it myself. I'm upset with myself. I did not press record while doing it, but it worked. So what I went with was I wet sanded with, it doesn't show on here now, but 3000 grit, and then I went over to 5000 grit, and thereafter I did a compound, went with a compound, polished over it with a compound, and it removed it. I did not remove all of it, and I'm happy with that. It looks better. It's not as in your eye now, but yeah. I wanted to make an example of something quickly. So I'm always telling people, and I'm not the only one, other people out there in the world love paint, say the same thing: do not touch the paint with your hands unnecessarily. Don't ever feel someone's paint after they've detailed it or polished it and like, oh, your paint is so soft. You gain nothing out of it. Keep your hands to yourself. You're not a toddler. End of story. What it does is you cause unnecessary swirls that could have been avoided. You're basically taking somebody's hard work and time for a joke, but just, touching the paint, because you just end up swirling it again. What I want to show you is, for a brief moment there, while I was doing the pillar, I did not throw the cord over my shoulder. And what I did was, for a fraction of a second or two, the cord rubbed against the paint of the car. So these cords on these machines are quite good. They got this rubber gel thing going on to avoid scratching your paint, but they can still. And I mean, even that thing, as soft as it is, I just scratched my paint, and I actually just want to show you guys what I'm talking about. Here we go. There we go. Right there. I early on removed all of that, and I just reintroduced that into the paint by having the cord did that. So that's just to stress upon the point that I always say: if you don't have to touch the paint, leave it. If you're going to a car show and you've got dust on the paint, don't take a quick detailer and spray it on the car and take a lappy. What that's going to do is you're going to put swirls back into the paint. If you cannot get to a point where you can wash it properly, just leave it. because that's how easy a paint can swirl. And to be honest, this car's paint doesn't easily swirl up. I mean, the paint condition was quite good for since the time that I last detailed it, but it's also very easy to swirl it with something stupid like that. So I hope I get my point across with that. This is where I call it a night. Progress so far. Bonnet I've only polished. I did not compound that. I've compounded and polished the passenger side of the car, except the pillar at the top, which I will be doing tomorrow. And I've compounded the driver's side of the car. I've removed the fine scratches on the driver's side fender. And yeah, tomorrow it will be the roof, boot, and yeah, we'll see how I feel. Maybe I do the bumper, knowing that it's probably can't even get to the word now. It's just so disappointing how that bumper looks. But yeah, it's not worth the effort to do it, but we'll see how the day goes. But for now, this video will continue in the morning. Cheers. This is cool drink though. Choose. Good day everybody. It is day 2 of my detail on the Ford Focus ST. Hopefully today we will finish up the car. I've got a few more things to do, like I said last night. So today should go smooth sailing. So yeah, let's get back into it. I've gone and tackled another task on the car. So while busy detailing, I figured it's gonna take some time, so I might as well, tackle some things that won't be so time consuming in the meanwhile. And I've decided to refurbish the weather strips on the roof of the car. They were quite weather beaten due to the sun, so I've refurbished them, resprayed them with a proper VHT spray, and it came out quite well. I'm going to show you before and after. So this is the before, clearly very dry, and that's the after. So it's still busy curing, but definitely a noticeable difference between the two. spots only started after I decatted my car, and yeah, there's some reason, no way that this is coming out. If anybody has any suggestion for me to get the yellow out of the white paint, please drop a comment down below. Anything that can help. But I've tried everything, nothing helps. This is not my first attempt at this. I've come to realize that there's still too much polish residue left on the car, like dust. Before I can use Geon Prep on the car and put on the sealant, I am going to rinse the car again, just with plain clear water, pull it back in, dry it off, and then go ahead and prep the paint. Now it's on to the fun stuff, applying the coating. Probably not the greatest thing to go and smell this stuff, but it is what it is. Give it a good shake. Hopefully I'm pointing the camera properly here, but yeah. Apply a good amount so that you can saturate the sponge with it. There you go, you don't want any dry spots, so you put on 3 spots, maybe make a smiley, whatever tickles your fancy, and apply. Apply evenly so that you don't put on too much. You don't need a lot, so just apply evenly and make sure you get all the corners and everything. If you get some on your plastics, it's not the end of the world. This is not going to decolorate your plastics. Is that a real word, decolorate? But yeah, usually polish makes your plastics nice and white. I doubt this will do that. It's never done it before. But yeah. And so the detailing process is complete. I've wiped down the whole car off camera, as I said, due to storage issues, but that's what it's looking like. The strips are also fitted in again, they're looking brand new. Now to show the car in the light. that's it for this detailed video. I hope you guys liked it. Don't forget to like and subscribe down below, and drop any comments. Feel free to let me know if you find that I made any mistakes, where I can better in my videos or anything like that. Definitely my first video, so yeah, I'll be dropping some cinematics after this. Well, I'll try to. Cheers.